and turn it over to Bob.
That's all I've got. Any questions? Welcome back, everybody. We had a great session last week. Wonderful participation, lots of people involved. Great training, and we sent everybody home with a very brief homework assignment. And glad to see everybody back with us again. I think we're probably going to have more this session than we did last week, which is awesome. Word's getting out at the quality of the training that Jeff and his team is providing us here to help you guys be all you can be as your club's president starting next year. Actually, starting right now, really. It started already. So the homework assignment was very brief. It was just to determine, help you think about what you want to accomplish, what your aspirations are as president during the coming year. And we don't like to talk in terms of my year. It's not my year, it's your club's year. It's just a continuing thing, and we'll talk more about that as far as our strategic planning. But during the coming year, what are your aspirations to lead your club during the coming year? So let's get started. I'm just going to ask people to jump in with your name and your club, and if we don't have much participation, then I'll pick you. So who wants to go first on what you'd like to accomplish during your coming year?
I'll start.
Thanks, John.
John Morrison with Socorro, and my goal is to become a servant leader this year, to empower others to do their best. It's not about me, it's about us. I want them to get excited about service and start asking what's next and start planning for the next 5 years.
Excellent. Yes.
And to be the district baker.
Yeah.
Well, I can teach.
Bob, Michael has his hand raised, and then Bill.
Okay, Michael. Jump in.
Mine's really simple. It's going to be all about growing the club. We're a small club, and there's at a point where it gets dangerous for a small club. And, with COVID and everything and the going to Zoom, we haven't been growing. So it's just so important to start to develop more members. So we're going to work on that in a fashion where we could, approach it as a group and do things maybe outside of the box to see what we can do to get some growth. So that's the most important thing.
Excellent, Michael. The old saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. And so I'm really glad to hear that. I hope you all have the same thoughts. Who's next?
I can go next.
Oh, go ahead, Carolyn.
I'm Carolyn Moore. I'm president-elect for the Rotary Club of Santa Fe. And I had 3 aspirations. The first is to encourage more young women into our leadership roles. And the second one was that we've got a big centennial project coming up in 2024, and to help move that forward. And then the third one is to establish one more annual event, because we've been really concentrating on the centennial project, and then we're going to need something to go after that. So we do pancakes on the plaza, 4th of July in the plaza in Santa Fe, and then I'd like to do one more.
Excellent, excellent. Those last 2 are really summarized in our Rotary International President-elect's objective of grow more and do more. And so I applaud that. So you are having pancakes on the patio this year, Carolyn?
We are not,
Okay.
because of COVID, and July 4th is too soon to have 20,000 people come together. So we've got Remember Us on that day.
Okay.
And we'll be out on sidewalks and corners. So look for us.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Carolyn. Billy, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Bill Lee, president-elect for Gallup Club, and few things that we're going to focus on. First of all, we're just now completing a refresh and relook at our bylaws. So we want to complete that for the club. We also have a foundation that was set up, and those bylaws and that board need some direction and help. And so we'll be working to help them. It's the foundation that oversees our scholarship fund. Of course, last year we didn't get to have our annual speaker banquet, which is a huge fundraiser for us. We bring in top names from the sports world that come in and do an inspirational keynote, and we do a great big dinner, and typically raise between $45,000 and $50,000 for that event, which all goes to our scholarship fund. Last year, we were unable to even hand out our scholarships. So we want to see all of that come back, and we want to bring it back with even more vibrancy. In addition to that, I'm really focused on our membership, and not necessarily, yes, we want to grow and I want to see new members come into the club, but I also want to see those members who have kind of maybe fallen by the wayside during this pandemic and have maybe not been as engaged as we'd like them to be, to bring them back and really create a club that has our members engaged in ways that we haven't seen before. So that's my focus right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. I attended that event last year. It was a lot of fun, and you did a great job of raising money and putting on a quality event there. I look forward to having those again.
Me too, Bob.
Yeah. Vicky, you're next.
You're muted, Vicky.
Sorry, Vicky Reisenbeck from Albuquerque Metro. I thought that the trainer had to unmute me, but anyway, I'm the president-elect, and we're a small club, so I'm very excited about the idea of bring one. If everybody could just bring one new member or potential new member, we could grow, and that would put us at a really nice size. Being a small club, I think, has helped us keep our members engaged. It hasn't been as difficult as maybe for a larger club because we are such a small cohesive group, but we definitely want to expand that. And I really want to be in touch with all of my members, which again, because we're small, that's not too hard, but be in touch with all of them to find out what they want to be involved with, because we haven't done as many service projects this year, because of the COVID. And I think we need to get back on track and figure out how many projects we want to do and what we want to do. And hopefully, after the spring, be able to get out there and do more.
Excellent, Vicky. Thank you. You're a small club, but very vibrant. And you are. You guys do some great projects. Putting on that iPad project, I think is awesome.
Thank you. And our fundraiser right now is called Flamingo Flocking.
Yes.
You go and you can pick a friend or a family member, and we go out and put like 50 flamingos on their lawn, and it's quite fun. And then we'll come and take them away for them, of course, too.
Excellent. Thanks, Vicky. Bob Bernard.
Yeah, I'm in Las Cruces at the Rio Grande Club, and my theme for next year is to refocus, rebuild, and re-involve. We've had many members who have gone by the wayside because they couldn't be involved during COVID, and we want to get them back, get them involved, refocus our projects, and rebuild our active members.
Excellent. Thanks, Bob. Gordon Cox, what do you got to share?
Good morning. I'm also from a small club, and when I hear other people say they're from a small club, I'm wondering how small is small. We have 12 members currently, and I would say about 8 of them are really active. And even some of them that are active, they sort of have to be prodded. Like I have a treasurer who I have to call up frequently and say, hey, how's it going? Can I help you with anything? And so on. So I really want to engage the members that we have. And then secondly, I want to build our membership, but I want to try to target some of the leaders in our community, some of the people that have influence as to what's going on in Angel Fire. And I hope that if we get a couple of people, it'll attract even more leaders in the community so that our club becomes a real central point where people want to come for help, and we're in a position to give that help when we have the right people and resources. So that's my focus for this coming year.
Thanks, Gordon. I really applaud your desire and your efforts to bring in community leaders and other organizations into your projects that can only help as far as the impact and our exposure and our image in your community. Excellent.
Bob,
Yes.
just very quickly, and I apologize to everyone. I was setting up breakout rooms for the next exercise and everyone just logged in. If you've already asked your question, you can lower your hand. And if not, if Bob, you can let me know who is still slated to ask, and I will lower everyone else's hands.
All right. All right. So I think, let's see, we've got Keith Erickson down in El Paso.
Keith, go ahead.
Sorry, but I have two different mute buttons going on here, and I'm trying to figure out which one works better. So thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Couple of things that I like to see. I'm president-elect of the Northeast El Paso Rotary Club. We have a great club because we have, who doesn't have a great club when they have Jimmy Melver in their club? But I would like to see it to be a more vibrant club when I do take the responsibility as president this year. And I would also like to implement the Flags for Heroes program, which we actually got from the Warwick Club, the Rotary Club of Warwick Valley, New York. And Leo Cadies, who's the president-elect, has given us that idea. And I'd like to see if we can implement it, actually be appropriate if we can implement it in September around 9/11.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I think we've got time for one more. We'll go to Catherine Herman.
Time for sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Herman, co-president-elect with Dean Caldwell for the Taos Rotary Club. We just sent out a survey yesterday to the membership to determine what their interests are and what committees they'd like to be on. This seems to be a theme so far for everyone about engaging members in projects and committees. The other thing we need to do is address our bylaws and make a few changes. And I don't know if Dean wants to add anything, but so far that's what we are focusing on. Engaging members is the biggest item on our list.
Thanks, Catherine. Well, I appreciate all the inputs, and we've got some great ideas going forward, and maybe we can all sort of jump in on those in our own particular clubs as well in our own ways. So Jeff, I'll toss it back to you for our next session.
Great, thank you. And I would just add, first of all, thank you for taking the opportunity and thinking about this if you hadn't already. Jerry, you have your hand raised.
Sorry, I was just trying to actually put it down.
Okay. But this is something that you can talk with your assistant governors about, kind of let them know what your aspirations are so that they know how they can best help you, because that is their primary role. There was a change in the agenda. We switched 2 sessions, the diversity, equity, and inclusion that we were going to do now, we're going to shift to the 27th. And we are going to do the innovation section now. So I apologize, it was a very late shift, but hopefully you can join us on the 27th because the DEI topic is obviously very important also. So I'm going to share my screen and go through just a few general notions. And again, questions are welcome. And if we have time, we'll go into a breakout room If not, we'll do breakout rooms for the next session on planning and goals. So here we go. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we wanted to talk a little bit about innovation at this PETS, and this is a new topic. You know, we would skirt around it a little bit at previous PETS, but I think given our experience with dealing with a pandemic, we thought it'd be appropriate to think about that now. And so we will talk about innovation, opportunities, and strategies. So let's start with what innovation is. Innovation is meaningful change, and I put in parentheses here in quotes. It's often thought of as a breakthrough change, a significant change. So we're changing all the time. You know, we're evolving all the time. But occasionally a breakthrough happens, an aha, something significant that kind of jolts us. And that's a breakthrough change. It's a significant shift. COVID forced us to have a significant shift, right? We didn't plan it, but we had to adjust to the circumstances of carrying on our Rotary business in the middle of a pandemic, okay? But ideally, we think about innovation proactively, like, can we plan for a breakthrough change? A lot of you talked about membership, right? We hear that every year, right? That's very important. But how do we get that breakthrough change, that significant change, if it's membership or whatever else it is we're trying to achieve? So that's innovation. It creates new value, significant value for our members and those that the clubs and their members serve. So if your club works with a local charity, if you've got innovation going on, much more value is created for them and for the members of your club. Adopting an idea or a process or a model, we'll talk about that in a second, that is either new or new to its proposed use. So as I was thinking about this, I thought of two examples. I don't know about you, but we didn't have virtual meetings before COVID. We met in person. Why not? But with COVID, we couldn't meet in person. So we established virtual meetings. Again, that was in response to the circumstance, but that's adopting an idea to a situation where it was going to work. It was the only way it was going to work. What we've noticed, and I don't want to speak for you all, but what we're hearing is that even when COVID is over, there still may be some room for online things, whether it's council of presidents or board meetings or meetings with your assistant governor. So we've learned how to adapt to this format, and we may still use it even when we can go back to meeting in person. So virtual meetings is an example. Satellite groups are an example. It changed the model, and Rotary International is wanting us to be flexible. They're promoting flexibility and agility and being more open to ideas. We're not in this conformed model like we used to be. So the idea of forming a satellite group is kind of innovative because it changes the model. Does that make sense? And the last thing I put on here is what we call intelligent risk. And the next slide will talk about what intelligent risk is. So generally speaking, if you're going to have a breakthrough change, it's going to involve some level of risk. The notion being that not every idea is going to be successful. It's what we call tolerance for failure, okay? Failure is not a bad thing if we learn from it. Say, why did this not work? But if we're going to have breakthrough change, we have to invest. It's what we call smart investment. It doesn't just happen. Some of us were talking earlier about, we're going to be going to hybrid meetings maybe. That's going to require some type of investment. It's not necessarily a financial investment, although in this case it may be, but it's an investment of an idea. And it should be a smart one, meaning we think about the potential gain, we think about the potential harm or loss, and what we're looking for is, based on our understanding and our knowledge, the gains outweigh the harms. It's worth the risk. And again, no guarantees with this. But if we don't stretch and try new things, we're not going to grow as an organization. For me, I like to think of 30% as my failure rate. Actually, no, I'm sorry. 30% is my success rate. So for every 10 ideas that I have, I'd like to see 3 of them work. And that would be like a good batting average in baseball. It's very important to think about these intelligent risks when circumstances are changing rapidly, like they have been now. We don't want to be in a position where we're slow to respond. We want to be thinking about this. Like, how are we going to handle this? How are we going to thrive and be a vibrant club during challenging times, right? It just begs for ideas. We can't just go through the motions like we have before. So if anything, COVID forced us to think and to weigh ideas and try things with the idea that not all of them are going to succeed. Our message to you all as incoming club leaders is, don't wait for the circumstance to drive the decision. Be innovative. Try things. And accept if they don't work and learn from them. It is helpful if the club understands that this is going to be your approach. You don't want to just spring things on them, but if they understand, hey, we want to grow, we want to be more vibrant, so we're going to try some things. And again, not everything's going to work, but I think you'll get a lot of support from the membership if you're transparent about it and say, we're going to try some things this year, and we're going to learn from them. Let me see. There's a question in the chat. It's called WD-40 because the first 39 did not work. That is great. That is absolutely great. So innovation is a strategy, and we've talked a lot, and we're going to talk in the next section about planning. Ideally, innovation is a strategy. It's how we're going to accomplish something. So if you're thinking about a membership goal for your club, and let's say you want to grow by 30% in the next 3 years, whatever your current number is, you want to grow by 30%. 30% is significant, right? Just doing incremental changes to how you're growing your club may not get you to 30%. You may need to try some things, breakthrough change. So our recommendation is, as you're thinking about your plans and your strategies and you're working with your board, consider innovation as part of it. Ask the question, can we do more than that? What if we try this? And go through that process of weighing the benefits and the risks and deciding whether it's worth trying or not. Is this, before I go on, does this register? Does this make sense? Again, I'd like to think that this is maybe the most important lesson learned from this terrible COVID experience, that we have the opportunity to take a challenge and turn it into an opportunity. And that's really where innovation comes in. I didn't fail. I just found 2,000 ways not to make a light bulb. It's great. Are there any clubs in the district that have grown in recent years? Yes. Part of the value of pets and the idea of getting together as presidents is to share. So for the clubs that have grown in recent years, and there are some, it's good to find out, how did you do that, right? Why reinvent the wheel if others have figured out things that work? Having said that, Just because it worked for one club doesn't mean it's going to work for another, but that could be a source of your ideas. Try to be proactive. So now that we've gone through this COVID experience, try to be proactive. Try to think ahead. Don't let the circumstances dictate what you're going to do. But being reactive is better than ignoring, right? So COVID happened, we reacted. We don't want to ignore the circumstances, but ideally we'd like to try to stay ahead of the curve if possible. A question: how do we succeed as a club, right? Because if you're going to set club goals, presumably you set them because you want to achieve them, or you want to achieve them over a 3 to 5 year period. How can innovation help us with this? Let me see what's in the chat. Taos has grown a lot. Oh yeah, great to know. We heard about that last week, right? Thank you, Marcy. Growth must come from the younger members who are devoted to making things work. You know, thing about new members are not in a Rotary comfort zone because they're new. Oftentimes, innovative ideas come from people that are new to the organization because they're not biased by what's been done previously. So I would say it's a reasonable strategy if you believe in innovation to reach out to the new members of the club. Does that make sense? And again, it doesn't mean that all your ideas are going to come from them, but the benefit of the new members, other than just they bring a lot of energy and excitement, is that they don't have the bias. They don't have a comfort zone because they haven't been in the organization. Growth must also come from knowledge of past members. That's true. It's always great to get feedback from past members. I mean, that's part of what we talked about before is you've got a wealth of information to draw on. And the more perspectives you have, maybe the better it's going to be. Incremental change is better than being stagnant. Bob mentioned that a few minutes ago. If we're not growing, we're dying. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what Bob said. And that's true. My view, and I think the view of the district leadership team, is that incremental change is better than being stagnant, but it may not get us to where we want to go. If you look around, and I guess this is what we wanted to do for the next few minutes, is are you seeing evidence of innovation? It could be innovation in how your club operates. It could be innovation in how your club recruits and retains its members. It could be innovation in terms of fundraising. It could be innovation in terms of involving, if you have an Interact club, involving interactors in your projects. I mean, there's all sorts of different areas where innovation can crop up. So let me see, one more chat. Yeah. So from your, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen for a second. What examples of innovation have you seen in, let's say, the last several years in Rotary, whether it's at your club, Rotary International, district? What examples of innovation have you seen? And again, let's put aside reacting to COVID for me, but what have you seen that is kind of this proactive, taking a risk and reaping the benefits? What have you seen? And again, there's a lot of people on here, so either put something in the chat or you can raise your hands.
Jerry Price got his hand up.
Go ahead. Jerry? Jerry, go ahead. You can unmute. Jerry? Okay, let's come back to Jerry. Gordon, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
I think one of the major things recently is bringing Rotarac into Rotary.
So can you elaborate on that? How is that an example of innovation?
Well, prior to that, Rotarac was a distinct group like Interact. And now with the new setup, Rotarac members can seamlessly come into our Rotary clubs. They are already members of our Rotary clubs.
Yeah, I mean, that is I would argue that is an example of innovation. My view, and we've got a number of membership people on the meeting today, we have been losing members, right? Over the last few years, we've been losing members geographically. So certainly not at the level of COVID, but we had a membership problem. And so the powers that be went through some brainstorming and thinking and weighing ideas. And the idea of kind of elevating Rotaract to make the members of Rotary was one approach to help with membership, right? If there wasn't a problem, now I don't know, but we could surmise that if we didn't have a membership problem, they may not have come up with that idea. They may have, but it is addressing an existing issue that needed to be resolved. Thank you, Gordon. Mike, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
Let's see, am I unmuted?
Yes.
All right, great. This is not an innovation that I've seen, but one that I'm interested in. I'm a hearing aid specialist and I own my own business. So I work with people ranging from about 60 to 90. And when I talk to my older patients, one thing that I always tell them is you need to become socially engaged or maintain a social engagement. And they say things like, well, all my friends are dead. And yeah, that happens. And I understand that. But if you're not engaged in some kind of social interaction, club or church or something, right? Now, as Rotary, we always hear, we don't have enough young people. And yeah, I understand that. But we could do a great service to the elderly population by giving them the opportunity to engage in Rotary. So what I would like to, and I'm probably going to talk to my club about this, is some way to either engage into the facilities that have a lot of elderly population. And, I don't mean the ones where people are sick, but just, where they live together. I go in there all the time and do free cleaning checks on their hearing aids and stuff like that. If we could reach out into those facilities, that have hundreds of people, there might be an opportunity to engage those people that need a place to social interact. So I would like to see that happen. And I know we don't do it now, so maybe it would be innovative.
There's a few others with hands up, but before we call on you, there's been some great discussion in the chat, and we are fortunate to have our club extension chair, John Morrison, on, and that whole notion of growing new clubs is inherently very innovative. John, do you want to jump in here and suggest some things or kind of talk about how you're thinking about innovation?
Well, that's coming in a couple of weeks, but there are so many different ways. I mean, even in our little Socorro club, we're working on setting up a satellite club, even though, because we've got a lot of young kids who can't come to the regular meeting at noon, who also want to serve. And so that's the first thing I would recommend for all clubs, no matter what size community you're in. Try to see if you can match meetings to match the people who want to serve.
Excellent. And that goes back to that notion about creating value, right?
Yeah.
We're going to serve a community that's not being served, or we're going to add more value. That's really how we want to think about this. We don't just come up with an idea for this just because we want to have an idea. It ought to be something that results in something more than what we already have. There's a question in the chat that's a really good question. And again, after I answer this question, we'll go to the other hands. So Dean asks, what are the barriers to innovation? So either for those of you who already kind of think and understand innovation, or maybe from just what we talked about, what do you think the barriers to innovation are? Why don't we innovate? Or why do we struggle with innovation?
We don't like change.
That's right. Isn't it interesting? And again, just myself, we don't like change, but we like the result of the change if it worked. It would be great if we could just snap our fingers and we get to where we want to go. But the change itself is tough. That's a great thought. Change is hard for us. But again, when you think about new members to Rotary, it's easier for them because they haven't been in Rotary for a while, right? The longer you're in something, maybe the less likely you feel comfortable changing. I would say the other barrier to innovation is not trying things. That whole idea about tolerance of failure. We are Rotarians. We are professionals. We set high standards for ourselves. And sometimes when people set high standards for themselves, they don't want to fail. I don't want to fail. When I was club president, I did not want to fail the club. But I also knew that I wanted to try things. So I said, look, we're going to try things. And some of them may work and some of them may not. But I knew going in that I was open to failure because I knew that not everything that we try is going to work. Okay, let's go to the hands up. So let's see, Claudia, go ahead. If you can unmute.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm with the Rotary Club of Santa Fe Central, and one of the things that I have seen as innovation is the satellite club, but also your public image. People have no idea what Rotary is. And in my generation, there's a lot of people out there that I talk to and they have no idea what Rotary is. So the fact that we can kind of smooth, our logos and make it all unified, and also work with each other. There's so many small clubs. My club is small too, and we do fundraisers and we call and invite Los Alamos, Taos, Santa Fe. We have 3 clubs in Santa Fe, and I look forward working with all of you because it's not just one little club doing one project. I think if we get all together, support each other, and that gets the voice out there. But definitely public image is a big one.
Could not agree more. The chat is flying. This is great. I can't read all of them, but if you have a chance, please monitor the chat. Mary just put in, you must be willing to take calculated risks to move forward. That's what I was calling intelligent risks in the PowerPoint. Same thing. Don't just willy-nilly risk. Think about it. Weigh the options, excellent point. Okay, Vicky, you've got your hand up. Can you unmute?
Yes, I really I think it was Mike who talked about bringing in older members, because in every group I've been in, people seem to focus on bringing in younger people, which is important. You definitely want to bring in the younger people. But our newest member is a retired person, and she's a member because she loves doing the service projects, and she's retired. She has the time, and I think that is don't overlook that group. I really liked that input of, I think you have to do both, but definitely don't overlook bringing in maybe some people who are retired and want to stay involved and connected, and it's a great way, for them, to get out and do things.
Excellent. And there was some other discussion in the chat about the online fundraising, another great example of innovation. But again, COVID created circumstances that we had to adjust to. And the online fundraising, just like online meetings and online trainings, a lot of that came out of this necessity to keep going. Having said that, when COVID is over, there still may be online fundraising because it worked. So good things can come out of bad situations. All we're saying is don't wait for the bad situation to think about new ideas. Brad, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
Well, there's a couple of thoughts I've had while everybody's chatting and doing this. And of course, the Rotary is service above self. But I have tried to reach out over this last 5 years to the younger crowd. And by younger crowd, I'm talking younger professionals, that type of thing, maybe 30 to 50 years old. And so when you were talking about creating value, the perception is that it's, at least the one that I've had from the people that I've talked to, is first off, they just don't have the time because they're busy building their business or doing whatever. And the second is that they don't see a benefit to them. And I know that's kind of an exact 180 degree out of service before self, but if we're going to attract that type of folk that have the energy, then we've got to come up with a way where they see a personal benefit, and we can lead them to the service above self side of Rotary. But I think that's one of the things, and I'm not denigrating anybody older or anything like that at all. I'm moving that direction myself. So, but the thing I've seen, like in our club, we did start a satellite group, which is amazing because it meets at a better time for those young professionals. However, we've attracted mostly the same group that we have in our morning group. And then don't lose my thought here. I've got all these notes going on here. Anyway, the time involved is a really important factor. So anything that comes in the way of innovation, that direction is awesome. And we've maintained a even keel through COVID. We've lost as many as we've gained. So we are trying and we are working it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I guess that's some of the messages. It's good to try things, because if we don't try things, we're just going to stay stagnant or just grow incrementally at best. All right, we'll take 2 more questions and then we'll go to the next session. Kush, go ahead and unmute, please.
Good morning, everyone. I kind of just wanted to add on to what Brad said. For the longest time, I think Rotary has had this one message meets everyone, and I don't think that has necessarily worked for the different age groups and the different populations, et cetera, that we see all over the map now. Maybe a form of innovation would be figuring out what works for each of these different groups and targeting them differently. As someone in marketing, we almost micro target down to so many macro levels now that you're kind of not sure sometimes, is this specific message for this one person? So you almost have to retarget your way of thinking and reaching out, and it's almost more of a one-on-one approach rather than this global message that we've seen generally.
Awesome, thank you. Michelle, you can go ahead and unmute, please.
Yes, thank you. Just as an observation, I think people don't even approach the conversation of innovation. After more than 10 years of being on the District Youth Exchange Committee, and Bianca will echo this, the number of conversations that we have with clubs about youth exchange and about how to have a student in your room is minimal. I would say there's about 12 to 15 clubs in this district that have a regular youth exchange conversation with us. And I think that's a sign that people aren't thinking about it, or they're not willing to step outside themselves and call one of us, call Bianca, call me, call Lorraine, and ask the question of, that's a really big budget you've got for having an inbound student. How do you think you can help me attain that budget so that we can have a young person in the room all the time? And it changes the texture of our clubs in magnificent ways, just as a thought.
Awesome. I'm going to turn it over to Bob for any comments before we switch. I guess I just want to leave with this. This was a quick session. We could spend 4 hours talking about innovation, okay? But I would say as a leader, the innovation doesn't need to come just from you. What you should be doing if you believe in innovation is fostering a climate of innovation, fostering ideas in your club. They can come from anyone. So again, just something to think about. If you feel like where your club isn't where you want it to be, and you've got to have that breakthrough change, how are you going to foster that climate of innovation and that intelligent risk? Bob, do you have anything you want to add to this before we go to the next session?
Great comments. This deal with attracting newer members certainly is endemic around the world. We hear it all the time. The two main things with young members is the time and the money. When you meet and how much it costs to be a member. Also, it's just interesting that some people have heard that, it's what's in it for me kind of thing. Whereas we've heard a lot also that the younger generation is really service oriented. So they are looking for those opportunities as well. But innovation, it's really overcoming challenges, either ones you're experiencing or ones you anticipate as far as reactive and planning down the road for possible changes. Where right now we're coming out of the pandemic. So we have challenges of how to get back into a new, what people say, a new normal. What's that going to look like? We've already adapted to the pandemic. Now, how are we going to innovate as we come out? That's our big challenge that we're facing. Thanks, Jeff.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. All right. Well, again, we could have spent hours on this. Hopefully we planted some seeds for you to think about. And again, feel free to confer with your assistant governor, the leadership team. It's good to bounce around ideas. Okay, Bob, we're ready to move to the strategic planning section. And Sunny,
yes.
do you have your audio? Because you're going to be part of this too.
I think it's working at the moment, Jeff.
There you are. Welcome. Everybody knows our district governor, Sunny Kellerman.
I hope so. Yes, good to see you all. I guess I'm kicking this off, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have a section to talk about strategic planning and in particular how it all fits within the Rotary International Plan and the district plan. So I know I don't need to say a whole lot about why planning is important. It's been a watchword of Rotary for a while. It's a watchword in real life. You've probably heard the expression, if you don't know where you're going, any road will do. And Stephen Covey always says, begin with the end in mind. I do want to mention that there's weather in Silver City today. So if I lose you, Bob, kick in. Thank you, Jen. Yes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I'm going to begin by sharing with you the Rotary International Strategic Plan, which is relatively new, just the vision statement and the strategic priorities. Jeff, can you bring that up for us? The vision statement, this is relatively new. I find it incredibly powerful. It's worth reading again and again and incorporating into your molecules. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities and in ourselves. Two things in particular I want to call to your attention about this. The first is you'll notice that the words that are bolded and large create their own sentence. Together, people create change. And you've probably seen excerpts from the Rotary Brand Center where you can overlay together statements on your own club's pictures. Together we learn, together we transform, together we end polio, together we fight hunger. There are 10 of them. Together is the key word in the sentence. And I believe that people who see our vision statement will relate to it and see the power of it. Underneath the vision statement, 4 strategic priorities, and you've been talking about them already, even just today. Increase our impact, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, increase our ability to adapt. It's all there. And the notes underneath each are powerful ones. When we increase our impact, eradicating polio, having focused programs and offerings, and improving our ability to achieve and measure impact, we will gain even more credibility and more attractiveness, I think. I know. Expanding our reach means, of course, growing membership and having a diverse membership, creating new channels into Rotary, just as John Morrison was saying, and we'll talk more about that, I guess, next time. Increasing our appeal, our ability to reach to people who've never heard of us and who don't even know what a landline is, and building awareness of what we do, all very powerful. Engagement's everything, as you know. We don't talk about this much, but when people are actually having fun, enjoying fellowship, and doing service, they don't want to leave Rotary. When people take RLI, they don't leave Rotary, the Rotary Leadership Institute. When people feel important and feel like they're making a difference, they don't want to leave Rotary. And I think too, somebody mentioned this earlier, when people see what's in it for them, they don't leave Rotary. And that can mean not only the richness of service, it can also mean that there is a role for the reason people originally joined Rotary, which is networking. The ability to build friends and networks makes a difference. It's part of the value of Rotary. Providing leadership development and skills training, very key. So I'm not reading every word here, but I think you're getting the idea, right? Increasing our ability to adapt. I just want to share with you that when Barry Rassin was in El Paso 2 years ago now, he made the comment that perhaps after 114 years, we might want to try doing something different in Rotary. And that statement rang true for me. We will not grow by doing what we've always done for 114 years. A lot of people want to serve who are not looking for the traditional Rotary experience, who aren't looking to sit down and have a meal in the middle of the day. So we want to bring our gift and make it accessible to people who are looking for something different. So I'm going to pause there and see if anyone has any questions or comments. I see something in the chat, but I haven't looked. Yes. Anyone, anything, or shall I just make a note that the following words, we don't need to go back to the document, but the last part of the strategic plan is a statement of Rotary's core values. And those.
Yeah, we can go back, Sonny.
Okay.
Yeah, George has his hand up.
George.
Hi, Sonny.
Hi.
I think everything that you just covered is extremely important for another reason. And I'm not trying to change the subject, but I'm just trying to add importance to what you just said. We all know that as a country, we are extremely divided at the moment. And one of the ways around that is for people to have to work together for anything, to solve a problem. And when people do come together to solve a problem or to work on something, we realize that we're not really that we have more in common than we have apart from each other. And so that breaks down barriers. And so that is very important for this to be successful for that reason, I believe.
I believe you're absolutely correct, George. I'm really glad you brought that up, and I don't consider it a change of topic at all. I think part of our innovation, part of our expanding our reach and engaging participation is going to be discovering our common humanity and realizing how much we can do together. And it actually is a perfect segue to our core values because they are, you've got them on the screen now. I'll read them anyway. Fellowship, integrity, diversity, service, and leadership. And of those, I sometimes think that the one we least understand or the least focus on is diversity. You know, that we think of it as somehow having to rub shoulders with people we don't like and don't have much in common with. But in fact, diversity is a strength. Diversity is what creates the bridge that Rotary is. I know I've told you when I visited your clubs that for me, Rotary is indeed one of humanity's greatest hopes. And it is precisely because, as George said, we have the opportunity to build bridges and to come together around something meaningful. Thank you, George. Anyone else? Who else would like to say something? We can probably come back together, Jeff. We don't need to give the screen any more attention, I think.
Gordon has his hand raised.
Gordon, go ahead, please.
I think the vision statement is very powerful. And when I see the word together, I think that says it all. It talks about engagement. It talks about membership. It's a big word.
It's a big word.
And if we could do together, we could do it all.
Indeed.
Yeah.
That's how we leverage our power when we work together. Thank you.
One of the reasons I joined Rotary to begin with was my experience on a Rotary Friendship Exchange to India, when I saw how some of the clubs in India joined together, people joining together to be together in their own homes, in their own programs that they do. It was so impressive to me that I knew I had to be part of it.
That's fabulous, Barry. Thank you. And Billy, thank you for your comment in the chat. Yes, diversity actually is a strength. It brings different perspectives. It brings advantages, because when we have different perspectives, we get different ideas and we do things differently and we have more power.
Sunny, John Bishop has his hand raised.
John, yes, I see that. John, are you there? Can you unmute, please?
Okay, I think I got it figured out. I'm sorry.
I think you did. Yes, there you are.
During our next club year, I've adopted the motto of friendship, service, and diversity. And our club has gone from 117 in 2017 to July 1st here, we're looking at about 65. So we've almost been cut in half. And I was reading in Rotary magazine today that worldwide, we've been at 1.2 million.
For a decade or more.
For 20 years. So I was wondering, I've been looking at what is there systemically in our club that has created this decrease in membership. And I've observed this diversity thing as far as our community is 55% Hispanic. In the business community, it's 30%, but our club has less than 10% Hispanic. And I was looking at why and how to increase that. And I think that we can increase membership by really addressing this diversity issue in our club.
I think you've got a point, John. And Dean, to answer, not to answer your point, it's a very important point. Diversity can create conflict until everyone gets on board. There are so many lessons for us to learn on our path to diversity. And they aren't all about, including minorities, quote unquote. It's really about honoring every human being for the gifts they bring, and listening respectfully and realizing that you don't have to agree in order to create something together. So we have some lessons to learn. Post the vision statement in the chat, or is it available online? Bill, it should be in our documents, right, Jeff?
Yes, it's in the documents.
Do you know, everyone know how to get at the documents that Jeff has put in a file for us for pets? Please raise your hand or nod or something.
And if you don't, and some of you have, email me and we'll try to figure out. It may be that you don't have your username and password for Club Runner. So we just need to make sure that you've got that.
Yes, no worries, Bill. Thanks for raising that. We want to make sure you have everything you need all the time. So at this point, I'm going to turn the floor over to our district governor-elect, Bob, to talk about our district's strategic plan and how it folds into the Rotary International one.
Thanks, Governor Sunny, and that was an excellent discussion. We're going to get much deeper into diversity, equity, and inclusiveness at our next session in a couple of weeks. It's a great discussion item to get better understanding of how that can be a strength in our club, increasing the diversity. So Jeff, if you could bring up my slides, would you please?
Is it the one that has the objectives on it?
No, well, it starts out with strategic planning. I've got it if you don't.
Go ahead, because I don't know if I have that, Bob.
All right. So let me get that going here. Let's see here. Where are we? All right, bear with me. About there. Okay. Go back here. Well, Jeff, I don't know what to do. I've got it up on my screen and I've gone to share, but it's not showing up on my share screen here. PowerPoint.
So when you're sharing your desktop or the file, it's not showing up?
Remember, I sent you 3 PowerPoints yesterday. One of them was starts off with strategic planning.
So you sent it by email?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, well, let me very quickly see if I can find it. I apologize, Bob. Yesterday by email. I honestly don't believe I received it. I apologize.
Okay, hold on a second. We'll work this out.
We could take a break now.
Yeah, if you want to take a 5-minute
Let's do
stretch
that.
break while we work on that, that'd be
Let's
good.
do that. Take 5
Okay,
minutes.
we can do that.
Thank you.
I have to exit, but I hope you all have a beautiful day.
Thank you, you too.
Bye, Michelle.
Okay, it showed up now. I got it, Jeff.
Okay, I apologize, Bob. I didn't see.
No, that's okay. That's okay. It was probably me, as always.
Oh, no, it's.
You see it now?
Yes.
Okay, finally came up.
And I don't believe I have a copy, so just at some point, if you can send it to me and I'll upload it to Club Runner.
I will, yeah. Is there a way for me to see the thumbnails of people on the right side of this thing when I'm doing this?
There are a couple options on the top of your window on the right where you can see like no one, you can see just you can see a column.
Oh, there, okay. Well,
We'll wait just a minute or two. While we're waiting, Bob, what I have, I've got the elevator speech presentation. I've got the list of the objectives on a PowerPoint slide. And I've got your two new objectives. I've got the one-pagers on those.
I've got the strategic planning stack. I've got the elevator speech, and I've got the district visits. Those are the three I sent to you.
I did not get it. I apologize.
The way I did it was in the PowerPoint slides there. I hit share and then typed in your address and sent it.
Huh.
But I don't know. I don't know. That's over my head.
Yep.
That's okay. I'll just work off of mine.
Yeah.
I'm not able to. I don't have the skill set to bring up people's pictures on the right hand side. So when you see people's hands go up, if you could just identify that, that'd be great.
I certainly will. I think it's been about 5 minutes. Should we go ahead?
Okay. Welcome back, and I apologize for the slight delay there. We'll move on. I wanted, in the context of our district strategy and the RI strategy, want to drill down to the club strategies and the planning to get your strategies together to coordinate all that. And as Jen mentioned in one of her chats there, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And what's the consequence of failure to plan? Well, you lose vibrancy, or your club lacks its vibrancy. And as a result, you're going to see low growth or no growth, and your membership will shrink. We're seeing that in a lot of clubs now. And it's not so much because we have a plan, it's because we've had to, we're adapting to the situation we're in now. And the overall, if your club shrinks, it reduces your ability to execute your service to your community. And that's why we're all about. We're here to serve our community and serve humanity around the globe and in their community. And if we're shrinking, we're losing our ability to do that. And God forbid, ultimately, here we go. Ultimately, you lose your charter because you just got too small and you lost your effectiveness as a club. So we want to keep that from happening by continuing our planning. And what is a strategic plan? Well, it's more long-term tactics. A tactical plan would be more, for 1 year. A strategic plan is what you want to accomplish over a long period of time. And it's not a bunch of goals set end to end. It's really a continuum. Think in terms of a relay race. Now, you and your team are out on the track. You're waiting for the baton to be passed to you by the current president and his or her board. And you can see them coming around the bend now, and they're starting to approach you. So you've got your team together, you've got your plan together, and now you're going to start picking up the pace, and you're looking over your shoulder. You're looking over your shoulder for that baton as the president of the board reaches out to give it to you. And you reach back and you grab it. And on 1 July, you have the baton, and you and your team take off to advance your club towards its long-term goals. And as you are moving out, the president-elect behind you is putting together his or her team that are going to get out on the track and wait for you to bring your accomplishments, the accomplishments of your club, give it to them, and they can press on and continue to advance the club towards its ultimate long-term goals. So that's what you should think about as a continuum as opposed to individual goal accomplishment. The club's goals should reflect its values and its vision on how it wants to look 3 to 5 years down the road. So what would you like it to be down the road, and what can you do now to get there? Well, what would you like? How big would you like your club to be? Is it the right size now? Has it shrunk and do you need to recover that? Or do you need to continue to grow from where you've been over a long period of time? To become a club, you have to have 20 members to become a club. Now we have several clubs that are well short of 20 members. We have clubs that are much bigger than that. They'd all like to, I think most of them would like to get bigger. There's a few that are happy where they are now. Diversity we've been talking about. It's my belief that we're all, there's diversity all around us all the time. It's just a matter of degree. Even a club of old white men all came from different backgrounds. So there's some diversity there as well, but we can improve the diversity. And as we improve the diversity, we increase the ability of our club to attract new members and they become more vibrant and more effective in their community. What's your focus? Every club, not every club, but some clubs focus on a particular goal or a particular project throughout their year and what they want to do in their community. And that can change over time. It can lose its relevancy. And so you need to continue to look at what your focus is on helping out your community, and are there other directions you can take? What kind of financial status would you like to be and continue to grow to? Some clubs work on a shoestring budget. Others have a fairly big surplus in their coffers. And is that appropriate? And how is that best used? And fundraising. Small clubs might have small fundraisers, and it's like a small poker game of 3 or 4 people. The money just sort of flows around. You don't attract any new money. So think of terms of fundraising programs that bring in outside people, outside money, so it's not the same people in the club. I mean, if it was just club members contributing to fundraisers, all you'd have to do is raise the dues, and then you wouldn't have to do any more fundraising. But you're much more effective if you can bring in outside money through effective fundraising. Does your club effectively contribute to the foundation? And we know that a strong Rotary International Foundation enables us to have the resources, the financial resources, to increase the impact we have in our communities, and again in our global global projects. And that money doesn't come out of the Ethernet. It comes out of our own pockets. And so, is our foundation giving adequate? Some clubs give a lot, some clubs don't give any, for whatever reason. And I'm encouraging our clubs, all our clubs, to contribute something to the annual fund. Contribute something in the boat. We all are moving the boat of Rotary International towards its goal of improving the condition of humanity. And we do that through our contributions to the foundation. So anything we give, if we could all, you've heard the campaign of every Rotarian every year. I'd like to expand that to every club every year, something to the foundation. Do you have a plan to increase or improve your image in the community through a consistent branding? We've got a new brand now, and we've got till the end of next year, June of 2022, to refine and to use that new brand. And is it disseminated within our community? Does your community know that they actually have a Rotary Club? And why would they know that? When you're out on your service projects, are you wearing the Rotary logos on your person? When you build something outside the community, are you putting the Rotary logo on that, so people can see the impact that Rotary has and know that your club is active in your community, and that can only help but attract more members. And are you fun? Have you built fun into your plan? That can go a long way. We talked about what's in it for me. Well, fellowship and fun, I think, is a lot of it. Not only networking, but building a larger circle of friends, and getting new interests, learning more about other people, friendships exchange, going to the Rotary International assemblies and conventions. More fellowship and fun. Build that into your plan as well, and that can only help but improve your plan. It should broadly fit within the framework that Governor Sonny just covered, and I'll cover in our district strategic plan. And it can meet many of the Rotary citation criteria for our Rotary, Rotaract, and Interact clubs. I mean, each one of those has their own citation criteria. It can be found in Rotary International on their website. And if you use a lot of those goals, a lot of those objectives in your own plan, then you're going to be integrating into the Rotary International theme and strategic plan as well. And you can earn that Rotary citation. It's really, there's 25 of those guys. And if you just adopt 13 of those to your own club's plan, then you can earn that Rotary International citation. It's a good way to get started. I've heard, and it sounds like a lot of you are already on the way or have established your goals already. But a good way to get started is to survey your club, because your club has got to get that buy-in. And survey your club to find out what is important to them. What would they like to do in their community to improve the lot of the lives in their community? What size would they like to be? What kind of diversity would they like to have in their club? How would they like to change the diversity? Who would they like to attract into the club? When would they like to meet? How often and in how? Those can all be determined through good surveys. And with that, you have the building blocks, you have the foundation that you can go back to your board and start building your strategic plan to accomplish those things that your membership would like to accomplish over the coming year. Lost my way here. So somebody said, begin with the end in mind. That comes from Stephen Covey in his book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. It's a great read. And begin with the end in mind. Always thinking, well, this is what our club would like to accomplish over the next 3 to 5 years. This is what they would like us to look like. So what can we do now to move in that direction? What can we do over the next year to move us closer to that ultimate goal of what we want to be 3 to 5 years from now in size, diversity, foundation given, financial success, fun. Who's in charge of this? Who builds the plan? Well, you may think as a president, it's your job. It's your job to build the plan. Well, it's not. The president actually inspires the board to build the plan. And the board is made up of members that's elected by the membership. So representing the membership, the board really puts together the plan. And each member of the board, each committee has to have a piece of that plan that they are responsible for accomplishing. We have in the district, we have a strategic planning cadre that we put together that you can bring in to help consult with you, to help you build your plan. They won't build the plan for you, but they will certainly help you and your board build your plan and have it integrated into the overall Rotary International Strategic and our district plan that I'll cover here in a minute. You may already have a strategic plan. In that case, it's just a matter of updating it. You can recognize during your annual meetings the milestones that you met, and then modify any goals that are still out there. You may have to change them because of changing circumstances. Certainly, we've gone through a huge amount of change here recently. And because we see ourselves coming out of this pandemic and new environment to operate in, this may generate more goals or different goals. You may have a goal that you didn't accomplish, a short-term goal that you didn't accomplish. You may want to modify it, you know, renew it, or you could even drop it. Certain goals may lose their relevance because of changing circumstances. And it's okay to take that out even though you haven't accomplished that. So what are characteristics of an effective goal? Some of you, many of you probably have heard of what's called SMART goals. That's an acronym. The S stands for specific. It should be a specific goal, not a subjective one. A subjective goal would say, well, we're going to grow our club next year. Well, that's not specific enough. We're going to have more fun. That's not specific enough. How are we going to do that? So you have a specific goal. And again, if you go back to your Rotary citation goals, objectives, those are all very specific. And what's nice about those is you can actually put in your own metrics into those goals, ones that you feel you can achieve. So that goes to measurable. Is your goal measurable? That's a metric. Again, you know, how much do we want to grow by? How many projects do we want to have? A measurable goal. In terms of membership, you can say we want to grow X number of members net, because all clubs are, you know, attrit. They lose members due to life. People move away, people pass away, people leave for other circumstances. So you've got to replace those. Plus, you've got to add members to that in order to grow. So what is your net growth that you'd like to have in terms of people or percentage? I like percentages, but other people just say, you know, we're going to grow by X number of people over the next year. Is it achievable? Certainly, you know, you want people to believe that, yes, they can achieve that goal. Otherwise, they're not even going to try, right? They're not even going to try if they don't think they can achieve. But it should be ambitious and audacious. You might say, well, is doubling our club size achievable? Clubs in India did that very simply. Several clubs said, we're going to double our membership. Well, what do? They just invited all the spouses to become members. And they almost doubled by doing that. So there are ways you can achieve goals that seem audacious, but choose those audacious goals, choose those ambitious goals. And if you don't quite make it, you still will make tremendous progress towards your ultimate goals. So have goals that are achievable, but make you stretch, and make you grow and make you work towards accomplishing those. And if you fall a little short, you still achieved a lot. And are those goals relevant? The R stands for relevant. You know, an irrelevant goal would be, I'd like to have everybody in the club own a new car. You know, that's not really relevant to what we're trying to accomplish here. That's kind of gross, but it should be relevant. Is it appropriate for your long-term strategy and what Rotary is trying to accomplish in furthering humanity and time-based? You should have a time base, a milestone, a deadline for accomplishing that goal, so people feel an urgency and they can put together their own schedule to get to where they want to go by the end of that time. So are your goals SMART? As you're putting together your strategic plan, use SMART goals. And as I mentioned, all the Rotary citation goals are all SMART goals. And you can put in your own metrics so they become your goals. And if you accomplish 13 of the 25, you can earn that citation. And as I mentioned, there's one not only for Rotary clubs, but there are citations for Rotaractors and Interactors as well. A great guide to putting together as a strategy. As I mentioned, each of your committee chairs should be responsible for goals that are in their area of responsibility. Now, it's not your job to tell them how to accomplish their goal. They've agreed that that's a goal that they want to accomplish, and then it's up to them to get within their committee to determine their action plan, their actual specific actions that they're going to use over the coming year to accomplish those goals. And then as you meet, maybe on a quarterly basis, you get feedback from those committee chairs as to what they're doing in their plan and their accomplishment of the goals that they're responsible for. And that all comes together for the overall Rotary strategy. So you've got a plan. You've got committee chair buy-in. They're going to build an action plan to accomplish those goals. What's next? Well, you've got to get back to your membership. You've asked them for their ideas through your survey. Now get back to them and share your plan for the coming year to move you towards those long-term goals. Every club should have a business meeting, 1 or 2 during the year. Most of them will have one in July and another in the January timeframe. You might even have it in December for your elections. Great time to go over your progress in July, establish what goals you're going to have, and link those to the survey results. Go over the survey results and how your plan meets and goes towards achieving those desires of your membership. So now they buy in and they accept those goals, and they will work with you in those committees to accomplish the things that they said are important to them. And then, as I mentioned, review the goals. Don't just say, okay, this is what we're going to accomplish this year, and next July we'll see how we did. No, you need to consistently go back and see how are we doing on these goals, on those goals. And should we modify, should we make a mid-course correction? Were we too ambitious? Or are we barking down the wrong tree? Or have circumstances changed that make these goals no longer applicable to what we want to do? And above all, when you accomplish a goal, celebrate. You made it. You reached your membership goal. You raised the money that you were anticipating you needed to do in order to serve your community and serve your club. So celebrate those and pat people on the back for their part in accomplishing those goals. And that can only energize your club to go on and meet further goals. So let's go over our district objectives. I'm going to go over the plans to accomplish these objectives. These are all listed along with our action plans in our Rotary, in our district website. You can go to the admin, district admin, and the very first top subject is our strategic objectives. So our first objective is to create a culture of kindness in the context of the 4-way test. And we wanted one of the major action plans there is to get back to people when they make a suggestion, or we put a survey out, or we get feedback from our members on our district direction or things that we're doing in our district, is get back to them. That's a sign of respect for them. So when we ask for feedback, we get back to them just like we expect you to do in our clubs. We will, from time to time, get a peer assessment of how we're doing. So we'll, and some of you have heard about the 360 assessment, and that's using your peers to give you feedback anonymously, so our peers can feel more empowered to give objective and honest feedback, and we'll be looking for that. And in our communication, we want everybody in our district and in our clubs and our membership to think before they speak, not only verbally, but online through emails and through other methods of electronic communications. And I think that's one thing that we failed to do in the 4-way test. And I'll go on to get a little bit of soapbox here. The third test is will it build goodwill and better friendships? And so many times I see electronic communication that does not build goodwill and will not foster better friendships. And it may be innocent to the person sending it out, but to the receiver, it may be very offensive or offending. Offensive is the same thing as offending, but it may be hurtful. So I know if I feel strongly about a particular subject and I make up an email, I'll let it sit for a while. I may come back to it, maybe a day later before I hit the send button. And I run it through what I call the filter of the 4-way test. And if it meets those 4 tests, then I feel comfortable in hitting the send button. If it doesn't, I modify it, or I might not send it at all and just let it go. But I would really like for us, not only in our emails, but even especially in our Facebook posts, to really filter things through that 4-way test. And in that way, we can improve the culture in our district of kindness and respect for each other. Respect, knowing that we're diverse in our opinions and our attitudes towards things, and they all have value, no matter whether they're contradictory or not to ourselves. They all have value. Our second one is to effectively manage our knowledge assets. We have a tremendous amount of information that flows within our district, and we want to capture and hold on to a lot of that. And so and right now we have lots of different ways of archiving and recording and storing that information. And we got to make it easily available to other people that can use that and go back and review. And so we're working on that as a district. We even have a storage facility down in Mexico State that has a lot of our material and written communication, written records. And we're going to digitize that as much as possible. And we're going to the physical history, we're going to manage that better. We may even have a district historian that we'll put in charge of that. So that's another one of our strategic objectives. We want to use our club runner as an effective method of storing a lot of our electronic communications and our history. This information that you're hearing today, that's going to be posted on Club Runner, I believe. And Jeff has become a very good custodian of our Club Runner information, but we're going to continue to use that and use other methods. And I've covered all of those. Okay. We want to improve our communication by promoting protocols in our district on how we communicate with each other. One thing I'm going to be doing is more handwritten notes. I'm going to enlist the help of you, my president-elects, and your secretaries, to let me know personally when you have a new member join, because I'd like to write them a handwritten note, welcoming them into Rotary, welcoming them into your club, and thanking them for taking the step to become a more of a contributor to their community. So please let me know when you have a new member. When you have a member that accomplishes something, a Paul Harris achievement, or another achievement you'd like to recognize. I would love to recognize them as well on my visits and through written communication. You know, in the old days, 20 years ago, if you got a handwritten note, you tossed it because you got lots of those. Well, now, because people communicate electronically more so, handwritten notes have become more special, because people actually have to take more time to actually handwrite that note out and stick a stamp on it and put it in there. So I'd like to do that as a governor, is provide that feedback to our members. So please work with me on that. We've got a new editor for our newsletter that's going to be taking over in July, and I'll be working with her. Jessica Onsuras of Carlsbad is going to be our new newsletter editor. And I'll be working with her, and our district will be working with her to refine our newsletter, to improve. It's already a great communicative tool, and we want to improve that too, so we have more people that will want to view it and to use it as a way of disseminating the accomplishments of our clubs and our members, and the activities that our clubs are going to be putting on over the coming months, so more people can engage and participate and improve the fellowship within our club and the effectiveness of our activities, and to disseminate information on a timely basis from above, either from Rotary International or from the district. We have many ways of doing that, and our newsletter is just one of those. Our fourth is to improve our public image through our branding. And I've already touched on this somewhat, is I really want to encourage people to use our consistent branding, our new brand. If your logo, your club logo on your communications and on your banners aren't consistent with our new brand, then they've got to be changed. They've got to be changed. We don't have to go out and change the signage in our communities, our monuments. We don't have to change those, but we should change our letterheads, our banners, our wherever our print media. It should all be consistent. And then when we're in our community and when we're participating in Rotary functions, and even when we're not, we should be wearing Rotary logo, and that will generate questions and people's awareness of of what we do in our community. And so we want to improve on that. We will continue to work on that. And our public image chair, Arturo Barrio, is going to be growing his committee to a committee of 4 at least, with members from different parts of our district. So we have more diversity in terms of our geography and where our public image chairs and our committee chairs are located, so we can disseminate this more easily throughout their district. Our fifth, very important. Many of you touched this on we want to grow our membership. That's so important to our continuing to improve our ability to impact our communities and programs around the globe. You know, our Rotary International president-elect, that's the first thing he said in his 2 charges is to grow more. And we want to, somebody mentioned, for the past 2 decades, we've been stagnant in the world with 1.2 million. And our president-elect Shaker made us charges to grow our membership by 100,000 people, by every one of us just bringing one person to a Rotary function. They don't have to join, they just bring one, each one bring one. So we're going to be focusing on that. And we hope that you put that into your own strategy as well, as to grow your membership. So we all contribute to the overall objective of Rotary, is to grow our membership so we can have a greater impact, improve our impact in our communities and around the globe. Our district metric is, over the next year, I would like us to grow our membership by a net 145 members. That's just 4%. I'm sorry, that's just about 6% growth. And I think if we're able to do that, I think that we're certainly able to do that, and that will contribute to our ability to help Rotary grow as well, and our clubs will grow to accomplish that. So we're down about 4% where we were last year, and I think that's really good. Some people said we're going to lose a lot more than that. We're only down about 4%, and so we grow 4%, we grow 6%. That'll get us to where we were before and a little bit more. We want to increase our giving to the foundation for the reasons that I've mentioned already. The foundation, not only does that enable us, that money comes back to us in matching grants and in district grants, but it also enables us as Rotarians, as part of an international organization, to have a global impact. And so we're through our education of our clubs and our members, we hope to increase our foundation giving. And you, as president-elect, when you're president, we want you to continue to encourage your members to give to the foundation. So every club contributes to the annual fund and to Polio Plus. And we want to also recognize club members for their contributions. And we're going to do that when people make significant contributions. We have two new recognition methods. One is the Triple Crown Circle. And that we recognize people that have done three things. They've become a major donor, where they've committed to or they've accomplished $10,000 of contributions to the annual fund. They are a Paul Harris Society member, which means that they have committed to contributing $1,000 per year over a number of years, not just 1 year, but a number of years. That puts them into the Paul Harris Society. And then also the Bequest Society, where they have made a long-term plan of giving, either through endowments or possibly naming Rotary International, the foundation, as a benefactor on their insurance policies, beneficiary on their insurance policies. So that's the Bequest Society. Somebody that's done all three of those will be recognized into the Triple Crown Circle. Let me do it on time here, just about done. The other one is the was called the $1 Million Roundtable. We're calling it the $1 Million Journey now, where we're going to have a dinner down the road where we're going to get 100 people together that have become major donors, and that will realize a $1 million contribution to the annual fund. So that's something down the road we're working on, is that $1 Million Journey dinner. We're going to continue to cultivate and grow our leadership in our district through, I'm asking our lieutenant governors or assistant governors, as well as their presidents, to identify our future leaders. And will let us know who those people are, so we know who to go to and to provide more training. Our Rotary Leadership Institute is a tremendous leadership training opportunity that has grown tremendously through the efforts of Renee Catlin and Kathy Fuller. Our past district governor, Dan Garrison, is taking that over next year. And it's become so vibrant, so effective, that we've had other districts ask to be part of that and to participate. Our Chief of Training, Jeff Weinrich, has been asked to be a Rotary Leadership Institute coordinator in our zone. And so other people are recognizing the quality of our leadership training within our district, and we're going to ask our presidents and our assistant governors, lieutenant governors, to continue to promote that, so we have more participation of this wonderful program. Sorry, pushed the wrong button there. The two new ones that you've heard me talk about already is to promote Rotary Days of Service. This comes directly from our Rotary President-elect, Shekhar Mehta. He would like to see every district have Rotary Days of Service, where multiple clubs, at least two, join hands on service projects and enlist the help of community leaders and civic leaders to increase the impact of our projects within our clubs, within our communities through Rotary Days of Service. And I'm going to ask our lieutenant governors, assistant governors, to coordinate the efforts of our Rotary clubs to have those, at least one, optimal to be 2 Rotary Days of Service over the coming year within your area. Some of you are already doing this. You have been doing this. Continue to do that and build on that. And the other is to coordinate your World Polio Day fundraising activities. Our World Polio Day, I believe, is the 26th of October. And in the past, in areas where we've had several different Rotary clubs like El Paso and Albuquerque, Clovis, possibly having multiple clubs have fundraising activities at the same time has diminished the ability of people to participate in multiple activities. So we're asking assistant governors to help clubs coordinate their activities such that they are spaced out through the day, So people can attend and contribute into several different clubs. And that way, more people can participate and we can increase our giving to World Polio, our Polio Plus Foundation. So, my fellow change makers, that was a lot on strategic planning. I know you've done a lot already, but it's so important that we have a plan when we step out smartly on 1 July and continue to move our clubs forward to accomplishing, to take action and unite to have a lasting impact around the globe within our community and in ourselves. And, you know, our Rotary International theme this year, our coming year, is to serve to change lives. And our theme in our district will be to adapt and grow to serve. We'll adapt and we'll grow to serve. So Jeff, I'm going to turn it back to you now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, we are due for a break. It is close to 10:50. So let's convene at 11:05. And I just wanted to apologize. I was hoping we were going to have time for a breakout session, but we did not. So on the 27th, we will have ample time for breakouts because the feedback is that they've been very helpful. So let's go ahead and take a break. We will reconvene at 11:05. Thank you. Awesome. Okay.
I think we need a break after that.
Sorry.
Bob, there was a question before you broke that you were going to answer, I think.
Yes. I think it was Carolyn asked, what again is Rotary Days of, or Catherine Herman asked, what are Rotary Days of Service? And our Rotary International President-elect Shaker asked, it's his term. And the concept is that on a particular day, any day during the year, 2 or more Rotary clubs get together, and preferably with other community organizations and civic leaders, and have a joint project that they all work together on in their area. And they calls that a Rotary Day of Service. So that we would like to have that happen in our district in different areas where it's appropriate for several clubs to get together with community organizations and leaders to do that. And some, as I mentioned, some areas are doing that already. So that's great, and I hope we can all do that as much as possible in the coming year. So Catherine, I hope that answered your question.
All right, thank you, Bob. And now we're going to turn it over to our outstanding district executive secretary, Danette Wagner, who is going to walk us through Club Runner and Rotary Club Central. And I just want to say, you know, a lot of you had questions about access to materials and things, and I think it's an appropriate time to make sure you're aware of both websites and also to make sure that you have access to both. So Danette, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. And I'm so glad that you've agreed to be the president of your club. For those of you who are new to it, it will probably be the most rewarding and challenging year of your life, but it is so much fun, and you will gain friends that you will keep the rest of your life. So be ready for an exciting year. And we as the district are here to help you. That is our main and first and everything goal. We are here to help you. So I am going to start by putting my email address. I will also show you where you can find it, but I want to put it on the chat so that you have the website and gmail.com. And so those are the 2 things you need to get in hold of me. So that will be very important for your year, because I promise you, you will need to get a hold of me at some time. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to jump in I won't be able to monitor your chat and do this at the same time. So Jeff, if you can help me, if you have really pertinent questions that I need to address right away.
Yep.
And I'm going to jump into sharing my screen. And I got to move some stuff. And what I'm going to do first is start at the very beginning. So up in your URL line, does everybody know what a URL line? That's where it says .org or .com or whatever. Put Rotary.org. To find the Rotary website, this is their main website. We talk about My Rotary, we talk about Club Central. All of those are accessed through this website right here. And this will be basically a ton of knowledge. You will have all kinds of products and all kinds of abilities to create things in here. So you'll want to come here. I'm going to start by going into for members over here to the right. And you see Rotary Club Central. I'm going to click on this. We talk about Rotary Club Central a lot. It's where your goals are. So when you first come up in Rotary Club Central, you will see your club name right here. I'm in Del Norte, so my club comes up. Here are your membership trends, your gender membership numbers, your age trends, if you add age to the website, your project funding, and your volunteer hour trends. These are all really good measures, and here are your annual fund trends. Good measures of how your club is doing and what you could do to improve. When I pull up gender trends, look at 2016, and I wish I could move this, all the way to 2020-21. Look at how many females we've increased. This might be a good area for you to look at. Lots of clubs have very few females. Maybe that's a good area to focus on. But these screens give you the information that you will need to find ways to improve your clubs. So from there, that's called the dashboard. By the way, you can also click down. I think you can only see your club, but you can see all other clubs. I'm not positive about that, but I do know you can see my district, my zone, and global. So if you want to know how your club is performing compared to district, click on my district and look at it and say, oh, wow, we're doing great. You might be surprised how well you are doing. Global is another very, very good one to look at. Yes.
We have a question or a raised hand from Keith Erickson. Keith, can you go ahead and unmute?
Yes, I apologize, Danette. Good morning. I am trying to find Rotary Club Central on the website. I'm kind of a little bit lost there. I apologize.
That's fine. If you go into Rotary.org,
yep.
On the right-hand side is member. I'm blank right now.
Does it say 4 members?
4 members, and then drop that down, and you'll see Rotary Club Central. Are you signed in?
I'm signed in. No, nope, that's probably one of the reasons why. So
yes,
My Rotary.
Okay, let me tell you a couple of things. First of all, you're going to have to get a user ID and password. Rotary.org has a different Rotary user ID and password than than our district website.
Okay, that's where the problem is.
Yes, your Rotary.org user ID will be your email address. And then you will be able to click in at the top like you're trying to sign in, and it will give you a place for send me a password, and they will send you a password.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. And I also will tell you there's a lot of this information that right now you're not privileged to. I believe that you can get into your goals right now, but there's a lot of things you will be able to see during your year that you can't see yet.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Good question. Okay, Goal Central. Goal Center. Here we are in our goals. And this is happens to be for my club, but I could jump into any other club and show you these. If you click edit at the top, you will be able to edit your goals. So it's real important to see that when you click edit, let me move my screen. You guys all, your pictures keep getting in the way. Okay, so when you see your goals, you will see goals that they had probably for last year. Do you see at the top where it says 2020 through 2021? That's not your year. So you'll want to bump it one to the right now. When we get into July, you'll be in your year and it'll come up automatically in your year. But be very, very careful that you work in your goals and don't destroy your last president's goals. So be very cautious about that. Then what we have here is Clarence has already put in a bunch of his goals, and you will see, for example, our membership goal is 105 for next year. So if I want to look at to see what to set my goal at, look at this little line below club membership. Show goal details and history. Look how good this is. This shows the goals for the last, what is it, 5 years? So it's a really good indication not only of what they set their goals of, but what they achieved. So it's a great way to establish your goals and kind of know what is reasonable and what you want to stretch for, and those kind of questions can be answered with this.
Should we
What
be
most
in
presidents,
should we be in My Rotary now or Rotary.org? I don't know where you want us to be.
I don't want you to be anywhere. I really want you to watch my screens. And then if you're lost later, I'll get you there, because each one of you, it would take some time to get you there. But just so you know, I'm in Club Central and it's at the top of but I got there from Rotary.org. So if you can just follow my screen, then later you'll be able to get here. And if you can't, that's why I put my email address in there first. So here's all of our projects and here's our goals. And if I choose edit at the top, you will see that there's some goals that have nothing. Here's a Rotary Action Group participation. That's not a goal we've used before. So I could select that goal and then put our goal in. Now, I want to remind you that to get a Rotary citation for next year, you will need to fill out and achieve 13 goals. So selecting a goal will fill it out. Putting the goal in will put you in the game for having 13 goals, and then your achievement you will track, except for foundation giving. And the foundation, the Rotary.org RI tracks your foundation giving, so you will not need to fill that in. They will fill that in for you, and you will not be aware of a lot of your foundation giving because it's by individual and people come into the website and give personally. So that's good to know. So these are the goals that are in the first group, which is members and engagement. Then you have Rotary Foundation giving. This one right here is extremely important. We really, really need you to put in an annual goal for what you're going to give to Rotary International. Now, if you're a club that has every Rotarian every year, that's 100 times number of members plus people who give extra. It's pretty easy to figure out what that is going to be probably. If you are not, you can come back over here and show your detail and history, and you can see the amount of money given, the goals and the amount of money actually given for different years. And it will give you a real good idea of what your members contribute personally. But we need that because we need to be able to track our annual foundation goals. And the reason that that is so important is because it feeds grants. The money that we send in, we get back to fund grants in our district. Here's our Polio Plus Fund contribution. That one we would also like for you to fill out. It has the amount you're going to just contribute just to polio. And
Annette,
yes, ma'am.
we have a question from an AG, which I think everyone wants to know, and that is who has access to these screens? Is it everyone can see it, but only club officers? No.
Club officers.
Club officers. And I believe on the foundation information, only presidents-elect and foundation chairs have access. Is that correct?
That I believe that's correct. I don't know because I'm not one of those. And that's always a question I get. Who has this? And I always say, I don't know because I'm not that. So if someone can let me know, that would be good.
I'm pretty sure
the
that's just,
AGs.
I'm sorry. Let me just say that if anyone has trouble with access and you can't get an answer from Donette, call me and I'll ask club and district support.
Yeah.
Well, I just accessed it and saw that there's absolutely no information about my club's goal center in club on our site. Who's responsible for putting that information in?
The presidents. That's why I'm training you.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay. The Rotary Foundation giving was that tab. Like I said, please fill out Polio Plus. You probably have a Pints for Polio or some kind of fundraiser you do every year. So if you can put that number in of what you usually make, that would be great. Obviously, most people's year got blown out this year. We did have one while we were open for a while, but it was hard to do. Okay, service. So here are your service projects. We are shooting for 10 service projects next year. When you create your service projects, you actually jump out and go into the service activities tab. I'm going to show you that in a minute because you list your service projects separately and you track the number of hours that you volunteer hours for those projects. Here's young leaders. We do RILA participation. As you can see, we do not do some of the other youth programs, but if I click at it, remember that Interact is there and Inbound is there and Outbound. So that's how you add things. Public image. This one is a great tool to use to kind of know what you want to do. You need an online presence. You need a website. It's great to have some social media exposure. If you can have Facebook, if you can have whatever social media you want to use, but Facebook is probably the most used in our age group. And I think that the district website, the district social media is just a great tool. And if you will friend District 5520, you will see all their posts and it will give you a good idea of what to post and how you can start informing your members to things and inviting people to things. Great tool. But we also have in this district, we have a group of people who will help you with any of this. So if you have no one in your club who has the ability to set up a website or just to do some of this, we have some people who can get you started. So just let us know. That's another thing we offer to you. Okay. And then if I click all, that's all the goals. So that kind of shows you what the goal center looks like, and that's what we're wanting you to fill out. Here is that service activities screen. and 21, 22. Let me go backwards because we don't, here's all of our service projects. And then if I go into a service project, you will see the start date and end date, and you will see the participants and how many we achieved, and you will see the dollars, and you will see all kinds of information about our projects. So you will be able to tout, whether it's to news media or whatever, how many hours. And I think that all of you will be shocked if you actually track this, because we put so much time in our communities and we ought to be so proud of it and sharing it with the media. And this would be a good place to track it and know how to do that.
Donna, can I interrupt for just a second?
You sure can.
This is something you, as presidents, you're going to need to get continual information back from your committee chairs on these projects, because it's not recorded anywhere. They've actually got to figure out how many people have contributed, and time and money, and then to get that back to you. It's you've got to get it from your committees. It's just not automatically retrieved anywhere.
Yeah, Bob, that's a really good point. And I know that some of you asked earlier in chat, how do we motivate or how do we nudge these people to get things done? Well, this is a good way. You say, I have to report it, so I need to know your community service projects and your hours and time. So it's a great tool. Okay, I'm going to go into.
As I said, hello.
Yes.
I am on the site. I can see what you're showing us. There's no information entered for my club. I have no idea how to edit it. How do I do that?
You're going to click edit at the top of your goals. And then you're going to be able to add goals. But I would ask that you probably get with your president and see if he put goals in and make sure you're in the right place. And if not, I will be glad to take this offline and help you get started.
Also, I believe that the last thing we do next week is you're going to be getting with your AG and LG and actually doing that. So they'll help you with that as well.
Yes. Okay, this is all kinds of reports about your club, reports about the district. You can just pull them up and look at them. It's a wealth of information. A lot of this will generate reports, so you can select variables and all kinds of years and months and all kinds of information, and then generate reports about your club. Now I'm going to jump here to my Rotary. Now, from that very first screen, I could have gone to my Rotary instead of here. But right now, I'm going to jump into my Rotary for a minute and show you a little bit about this section of the Rotary International website. So my Rotary is where you go to manage things. So this is really important. Your club secretaries are responsible for making sure that every member of your club is in this website and correct, and that there are not old members still in here, because in July and in January, you get billed from both RI and the district, and we bill based on this website's information. So we have to make sure that your club members are correct. So if you have 20 members in here and you only have 12 left in your club, you're going to get a bill, and you are not able to say to Rotary International, I'm sorry, I didn't know that those were in there. You've been warned, and they will not back down on those bills. We have gone round and round with them. They will not back down. So you will get notified closer to time, and your club secretaries will definitely get notified many times saying, be sure your membership is right. And there's a very good reason for needing that correct. Brand Center, I suspect that Arturo will do a great job of explaining Brand Center to you and the fabulous tools that are in it. You can create your logos for your clubs. You can create brochures, all kinds of stuff. This can save you money and time untold. So be sure and come here and look at things. It's got stuff you could already use for materials to hand out, that kind of stuff. Our story, all of it is in here. Also the rules of that are changing, and they've changed some time ago. They've changed years ago to change the logo, but we're going to have a big push this year, and we must change our logos so that the word Rotary is in front of the wheel. Do you see how Rotary is in front of our wheel right here? So Rotary International is adopting this, and we must adopt it, and they are going to give us the support. But the reasoning for that is so strong that we need an overall image, and we do not want to dilute that image or change that image in any way, so that when people see Rotary in that wheel, they know it is Rotary, and it is a good way to keep it consistent. Marketing, consistent, consistent, consistent. There are many other things in here, a learning and reference that I think you all have already been to, most of you, to see some of the reference items that are in here, but there it's just full of every kind of information about how to be a president, etc. All of those things are already in here. So I think I want to close Rotary International's website and go into the district website. Are there any questions before I go to the district website?
Yes, you said something about an edit button. I didn't see an edit button.
Okay, are you in the goal screen? Are you on the goal screen? See, I needed you to come to Member Center and then come down here. I'm sorry.
Barry, you're muted.
Okay, I really am going to have to help you get into your goals after we get off of the website, because I got to go over the entire district website. So I apologize, but we're going to move on, and I'll help you later. Okay.
Excuse me, Claudia has her hand raised. Claudia?
Sure.
Hi, Jeanette. This is Claudia. Question about where you can guide me where I could find a calendar of the things that we should be doing at what time, what day, deadlines. Like, okay, changing the Rotary members. You mentioned to do it twice, January and June, but where we can find like a calendar for us to get organized.
Yes, we will talk about that. I believe that there's a page in your what's it called, Jeff? President's Manual?
What we lovingly call the Club President's Manual.
Yes.
Be a leader, club president, whatever the actual.
So there's goals, there's a calendar there. There's also a calendar here of things to sign up for and things that are coming up in the district. There's also a calendar of Bob's visits. So there's many calendars you're going to have to pay attention to. So, but for RI, it's primarily the what's in your training manual.
And it looks like Kathy, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was actually typing in the chat, but I wanted to know, Danette, if there's any kind of a guide that explains or indicates the websites and what's in them.
There is not, I would say, a guide saying what's in those websites, and it changes all the time in both the district and Rotary International websites. every once in a while, I spend time just going through, looking to see what's in there. But you will get familiar, just from this presentation, you'll know, oh, I don't know what to tell my membership chair to do. Maybe I should go to the RI site and go to that learning center and see what they have, because there are hundreds of membership tools for you to use. But you can also always reach out to me, and I will put you in touch with the district person that is the chair of our district that can help you with any of those areas or any information. So if I can't answer it, I can find somebody who can. But when I go through this website, you're gonna see more information that you're gonna find more relevant to what you're doing probably this year.
Janet, I believe that
Okay,
there's a Learning Center module on Club Central as well.
Okay. There's also a small how to get around on the Club Runner website, and I can send that to you. I do give it to secretaries when I do that training, because they're the ones who are in here the most, but I will be glad to share that with you also.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the district website, and it is called Club Runner, and you will hear us use that use that term a lot. Club Runner is the company that actually maintains and writes our district website. Most probably districts in the world use Club Runner, and it's a tool designed for Rotary clubs and Rotary districts, so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel on a website. So that's why you hear us use Club Runner, but it's Rotary5520.org. If you do not know how to sign on to this website, as in don't know your user ID and your password, if you go to the bottom of this website, it says log on instructions. Use these instructions and you will be able to get your user ID and password. The only problem would be is if you've changed your email address. And if you have, contact me and I'll help you get in. Okay, I'm going to start and explain a little bit more about Club Runner. Many clubs, especially the bigger ones, use Club Runner for their club website also. And so you will notice that there's some similarities to them. They have events. They have this little Russell Hampton sticker, which is a telltale sign that is Club Runner. You will also see that it changes their website as they come into it to a Club Runner website, because it is the company that also provides the clubs with their websites. It costs to use it, and it's based on a per member price. So if you're not using it, you can contact Club Runner and find out what it would cost you to use it, and then you would need someone to set it up and get your website going if you don't have one. Many of you don't use it, which is fine. And if you don't use it, then you maintain your membership for the district and for RI in here by changing a member in here by your secretary. So let's say we add a new member. It will populate up to the RI website, and it will be in both databases. At times, it could malfunction. For instance, both of these websites are down for service at times. So if you were to just hit a member, putting a member in when it was down, it might not populate up, that kind of thing. The secretary and you might get reports occasionally saying that you're out of sync. And that's a good indication that you need to go look and see why you're out of sync. But that report actually tells you why you're out of sync. And if you want to explore that report and learn how to do that, I'm more than willing to help you, but it's probably an hour lesson in itself. So on the website, we have some helpful COVID information. Here's our service projects that are COVID safe. Here's our speakers bureau. These are people who are willing to talk to your club online. And then here's the information you were asking about earlier about President's Council. So if you are in the North, as you said you were, and want to know about it, here's the Albuquerque area. It's the first Friday of the month at 7:30. You contact Mark Tobiasen, and he will give you the link for that. If you're in the El Paso or close to the El Paso area, you might want to contact Jimmy. And that's not to say that you shouldn't have your own President's Council, because you should. Your issues are totally different in El Paso than northern New Mexico. So we just want you to join there so you can see how well they function. They go around to each president and say, hey, what's happening in your club? And that's a great time to say, we want to work on a project with Children's Grief Center. Who would like to join us? And it's just great mentoring and knowing what other clubs are doing and knowing what else is working for other clubs. So that's why we promote it so heavily, is because we think it's a great tool. Here's our district conference information, and we're excited about you joining our district conference. It has our schedule on it. And over here on the left-hand side, do you see that Rotary District Conference? So after you sign on, you can come in and register, and you will be able to attend the Rotary District Conference. So it's the 8th through the 10th, and it will be all Zoom, and they have some great speakers, and they're looking forward to entertaining you. Here's our statement on diversity and inclusion. Some links you might want to read about that. Here's our write-up on Sunny and our write-up on Governor Bob. And then here's my contact. So if you ever lose it, it's on this website. Here's the bookkeeper in case you have billing questions. And here's the public image contact. There's also I just am noticing there's also a newsletter contact, and we've decided to use the same Gmail account for that. So I'll put that on there. When you have things that happen in your club that you would like to be in the newsletter or be on Facebook or whatever, we would like to make that decision as far as we would like to help you with getting that information out. So whether you send it to me, to Arturo at Public Image, or to the newsletter, we're going to share it with each other. So if you send it to me, I'm going to send it to Facebook and to the newsletter. So that is how you get things in those publications. Okay, and then at the bottom is the instructions on how to turn on. Did someone have a question?
Yeah, Dana, would you just repeat what you just said about getting something up on the website?
Yes. Okay, so we don't post necessarily your every event on the website. We do put it in the newsletter. We do put it on Facebook for Rotary 5520. And so if you send it to me, I'm going to copy Arturo, who is the public image chair, and Jessica, who's the newsletter person, and it will automatically appear in both. Okay. And they will take parts of it. They might condense your wording, for sure they will on Facebook, because if you have a 3-page document, obviously that's not a Facebook ready document. Do you have any other questions about it? I will tell you that Arturo does a fabulous job with Facebook. And so all of your events, if you've sent them to him, come up on Facebook. And so when you're a club, all you're going to have to do is copy a lot of this, share a lot of the stuff that's on Rotary 5520 Facebook, and boom, you have your Facebook page going. So I would share
Thank
that
you,
with
Donette.
you. Yes,
Can I mention something real fast?
you sure can.
Also, we have gotten some requests from some of the clubs. If you're gonna have a speaker or an event, we will be glad to create the Facebook event for you so you can share and promote. And we'll make sure that the district is aware. We have seen a lot of cross collaboration right now that a lot of things are virtual. Everybody can participate. So we will be glad to share as much information as you let us know. Thank you, Donna.
Uh-huh. Okay, so upcoming events. This is very, very important. You'll come to this website most of the time for this right here. Upcoming events. Here's your president-elect training. You came in here and signed up, and we have one more on March the 13th. And then we have an RLI Part 3 session here, and this is where you come to sign up. You'll need to share with your members where to sign up for RLI, and it's always on this website on this left-hand side. Here's our president-elect training session 3, and then we go into grant training, and all the grant trainings are listed here. And there are, I believe, 7 of them that I am going to Zoom. And you will need to attend, 2 of your members will need to attend one of these sessions in order to qualify for grants next year. So really important that you guys get on it right away and get somebody to these grant trainings. Here is the district conference, as I noted before, and there is a $50 charge to sign up for this, which is a great deal because we normally have to pay $250 and pay hotels and all of that. So it's a great opportunity for people to come to the district conference and witness a district conference that haven't tried it before. Great camaraderie, very neat to see what other clubs are doing and hear about their accomplishments and see their awards. It's a good event. Here are the links to past e-assemblies, and basically these are training sessions about these different aspects of Rotary. Here's our map. If I click right here, this is Governor-elect Bob Roush's calendar, and it will, in June, change to be Governor Bob Roush's calendar. Well, July 1 it will. And then you will be able to see where Bob is and what clubs he is visiting when, right here. So they're going to talk more about that and how to get on his calendar so that you can have the district governor present at your meetings and boards. The district leadership team structure. This is really valuable right here. This is what we were talking about. This is the org chart. And look here, I can see everybody in the district. Gosh, I want to know about, you know, let's say I want to know about service projects and what's working. And here's Earl Greer's contact. I can just click right down below him and his email comes up and I can just ask him any question I want. So that is true of all these people, and they expect to hear from you. And I have never had any of them that aren't very responsive and do a great job of responding to your questions. If you want to start with me, you can, but I'm very likely going to copy these people in on my responses so that I can see that I'm telling you the correct and most current information. So here's the insurance representative. I don't know if you're aware, but if you have an event at your club or a fundraiser, we are covered by our dues to Rotary International for insurance on those events.
And
So
that's if the board has approved the event.
That's correct. If the board has approved the event, and you can also find up at the top,
Whose
which I'm going to
board?
go into. I'm sorry?
Said whose board? There's the board of the club, there's the board of the
Club
district.
board. Club board. So but I will show you up at the top how to print that out. There are some locations that want to see your insurance policy. You may be scheduled at a church and they say, I need to see an insurance policy. So I can show you how to do that. So here are all these great people. Then it goes into the assistant governors and it's by area. So just by location of where you are, you can probably guess which area you're in. You will hear from your assistant governor, but if you can't remember who they are, you can click on these and you will be able to see what clubs they are in. See that little clubs below it? Is it below it? Yeah, below it. And you will be able to see what clubs, for instance, Carla's clubs, she is actually in Ruidoso, but her clubs are Tularosa, White Sands, and Alamogordo. And this is the president's for this year. So when July comes around, it will be the president's for the next year. Also a great way to find out those clubs in your areas, I mean, those club presidents, so that you can get together with them to do projects.
Danette, we have a couple of raised hands. Let's
Okay, let me say one more thing. When you see this assistant governor and you want to talk to Roger because he's your AG, you come right down here and you click on this little mailbox and it will email him whatever your question is. Okay.
Vicky, go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, on the insurance, if you want an event to be covered, does it have to be shown in like the minutes of a meeting or whatever that the board has approved it, the event?
You know, I don't know that. Do you know that, Sunny?
Yes, the answer is yes. Make
Right,
sure
right.
your board votes to approve the event and capture it in the minutes, and that way it'll be covered.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Do you see at the top here under administration, there's an insurance tab? And if you click on it, I've written a little document about how to go get that insurance information if you need it. But just, you don't really have to have it prior to having the event. Just approve those events in your board meetings and board meetings, and they will be covered.
Okay, John,
Okay.
Go ahead and ask your question.
I was told last week when I was investigating insurance that our club, we have volunteer insurance because Rotary International does not cover volunteers. So I understand. And so we have a special volunteer policy to cover both Rotary volunteers and outside Rotary volunteers. And
if you want the details of what that is, you can print that policy and read the details. I do believe it covers volunteers as far as, but you do check it for me.
yeah, our insurance agent said that it did not. So that's why we gotta.
I would advise you to check it because I think it might. I know we use it for that, but there are things it does not cover. So you want to read it and know what it does cover. Okay. For instance, like if you use someone else's logo, it probably wouldn't cover that kind of thing, you know, so there's things it covers and things it doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead.
We're a few minutes behind. So
okay.
Go ahead and wrap
All
up.
right. Yes, I will. Okay. At the top, there's information about club administration, district administration, membership. Here's all the membership. Rotary Foundation, here's where you get those guides. Here's a great grants basics. Please read it so that you know what grants are. Here's our public image, youth training. Here's what RLI is. Here's where you come to get the Sunny Brown Award and the New Generation Award applications that you've been hearing from Sunny. Please fill those out so that we can give out those awards at district. Here's where you can contact me also. And here's our crisis communication plan. We do have a communication crisis plan, and you want to read it probably and know what to do. This is very important when it comes to dealing with children and what to do if you have a problem. And here are the conference documents that will be voted on at the district conference. Thank you very much for your time. And I'm sure you have 1,000 questions, but contact me and I'll be glad to help you out with any of this information. I do want to say one more quick thing, and that is there's a app that can go on your phone called Club Runner, and you can download it and sign on, and you'll be able to look up people's phone numbers no matter where you are. Really valuable. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Danette. And I just want to reinforce, because a number of you had reached out to me before the training and said, I'm having issues with Club Runner, or I'm having issues with my password. If your club secretary cannot help you, then please reach out to Danette. She's an invaluable resource.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, we have a few more items to cover. But before we do, Jen, go ahead and unmute, please.
Having extreme technical difficulties, so I'm not as good as Arturo. So everybody, please look at the screen and smile, because I did it before another different way and it just didn't work. But it won't be 3 minutes of smiling this time. It'll be fast. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. That's screen 1. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jen. Okay, Bob, we're gonna talk about elevator speeches. Are you ready?
I am ready, yes. To get us started, I'm going to tell you a really bad joke, because we were always supposed to have some sort of humor during these meetings, and we haven't had any lately. So what do you call a line of rabbits hopping backwards? A receding hairline.
That's a great joke for you, Bob.
Hey. That's like a person. Like a person.
Bad hair.
That's a bad hair joke. Okay. So elevator speeches. Jeff, do you have that? There you go. All right.
I sure do. Give me 1 second. Okay.
Okay. So why have a Rotary elevator speech, and what is it? Somebody asks you, well, what is Rotary? You got to have something ready to go. So next slide. Yes, about 30 to 60-second thumbnail about Rotary, and even better, why you're a Rotarian. So you need a little direction there of changing from what Rotary is to who is Rotary and why is Rotary. Next slide. Why should you have one ready to go? Well, you're going to get questions from people. They may see your pin. They may see your little, you may be at a Rotary function that has a Rotary logo displayed, and somebody may ask you about that. Or you may be having a conversation. You mentioned that your Rotary club did this or that, and somebody said, well, what is Rotary? So you should have a quick little blurb to shoot out to them that creates further curiosity. It's not a big diatribe of what all about Rotary is. It's just something to create your curiosity and maybe generate more questions or further investigation. Next slide. What is it? It's not a detailed description of Rotary. We don't want you to go into big detail about, what the history of Rotary is, when it was founded, who the founder is, what his ideas were, how big it is and what they're doing all over the world. Pretty soon, the eyeballs are going to roll back. You want to get their attention quickly. Okay, next slide. What is it? It's a way of generating interest by basing it on your experiences, why you're in Rotary and why you enjoy being a Rotarian, what has made you a Rotarian. So you should have maybe a little story on what you've been involved with and why you enjoy being in Rotary. And then after you've got their attention, then you can go into a little bit more detail about the Rotary organization and your club. Next slide. And you should always end with an ask. And the ask will be to join you at a meeting or a function. or maybe just get together and discuss it some more. Next. Okay. I think our branding section in Rotary International has got some great tips or great material to construct your Rotary elevator speech. And, you know, I've actually used this, or friends of, you know, I've been in an Uber car one time, and somebody, you know, they said, "What are you here for?" I said, "Well, we're here for a Rotary convention." So what is Rotary? And right away, somebody said, "Well, we're people of action." He said, "Really? Tell me more about that." We're people of action. And then you expand on that. And as Governor Sunny mentioned, our branding center, we've got all these wonderful together we subjects. Well, we are people of action. Together we do these things. We can educate. I mean, you're not going to go through every one of these, but have one of these ready to go that you're able to talk to because it means something to you. It means something to you. Together we educate women to be more self-sufficient, and so they can be contributors to their community in areas where they're not currently. Or we fight hunger by providing backpack programs to children in hunger-deprived schools. You're getting the idea. Together we save lives. Together we end polio, and explain and go into a little more detail. Remember, this is 30 to 60 seconds. So you're just shooting them a little blurb there to get their interest, and then go for the ask. Next slide. Then you can go into a little more detail about your specific situation, you know, what your club does. We meet and we do these things. We plan community projects. We work with, we invite civic and business leaders to talk about important subjects of the day. We have a lot of fun. We enjoy common interests. And I've expanded my friendship and my group of friends in the community, and increased the diversity of my experiences in the community. My club most recently has done this. And we're going to be doing this in the future. Would you like to join us and just see what kinds of things we accomplish in the community? So again, you're changing the subject about what is Rotary to who is Rotary and why you're in Rotary, what's specific about your situation in Rotary, and how you would like to get them involved or get them more exposed to why they would enjoy Rotary as much as you do. But above all, next slide. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm one slide off here. There's a lot of further guidance on the web. You can Google Rotary elevator speeches, and there's examples there for you to work off of. Just develop one that you're comfortable with, and then practice with your spouse. And we're going to ask you to do that as homework, and maybe practice and demonstrate that when we get back together again, of what your elevator speech is. And always start out with, what is Rotary? And then you go into your elevator speech, 30 to 60 seconds about why you're in Rotary and why they should be as well. And then above all, next slide, smile. Questions?
Bob, may I just offer one other thing?
Please.
I've done a lot of these over the years for Rotary and everybody else, and I'll tell you that it really makes a difference not to memorize this, but have a few key points that you want to make, and then have it be generated from your heart every single time. It will make all the difference. So don't worry about practicing to be identical, practice to be authentic. Yes. And enthusiastic.
When you can fake authenticity, you've got it made.
Thank you, Bob. That was really helpful.
Questions? All right. Thank you for that. We're about to wrap up. We have one more thing.
Can I just add one very quick point? Bob?
Say that again?
Oh, I just wanted to add one point to
please.
You know, one of the roles you're going to have as president is you're kind of the walking brand of the club. You're in a leadership position. You may be approached by people asking about the club that you wouldn't have been approached otherwise. So it would be nice for everyone in the club to have an elevator speech, but it's even more important for you because as the president of the club, there's going to be situations where you're going to be in front of people. So, and that's why we wanted to cover it, just because it's really important in your leadership roles.
That's a good point, Jeff. And in fact, you know, you may be out on a project and somebody sticks a mic in your face and says, tell us more about your organization. Exactly. Very good.
Okay, we're ready to move on to the club visits?
Yes, yes.
Okay, give me one
You're
second.
getting a little bit more of Roush than than you would normally today. My director of operations, Fred Bryant, wasn't able to be here today, so I'm gonna fill in for him and discuss my visits to your clubs. I'll be required. I'm supposed to visit every club throughout the year, and Governor Sunny had to adapt to our pandemic, and she was able to do it with aplomb by visiting electronically all your clubs this year, and enriching you with her experiences and her guidance. And I'm very hopeful that I'll be able to do it in person. If not the first part of the year, but as we progress through the year, I'll be able to visit more and more of you in person. And so we'll be working towards that. And if not, then I'm gonna ask Sunny for her guidance on how best to do it electronically, because she's an absolute professional at doing that. So next slide. My visit to you is really, it's all about you. It's not about me putting on a show. It's about you and how I can help you. What would you like to get from me? And I don't want to, in preparing for my visit to you, either electronically or in person, I don't want to create a lot of work for you. I just want to learn what you would like to get out of my visit. I can share with you what I'm able to give you, but really it's what you would like to get out of my visit, whether it's just having me along and to answer questions, or to present subjects, or to work with different people in your club. Willing to do that. Next slide. Fred's going to be in touch with you very soon to start getting your ideas about when you'd like me to be in your location. Certainly, you know, in the outlying areas there, like Southwest Texas, El Paso, Northern New Mexico, it'd be nice if I could hit several clubs on one trip, but it's not totally necessary. I mean, that's on me, that's not on you. But if we can arrange that, that would be wonderful, and he'll work with you to do that. If at all possible, I'd like to meet with your board before the meeting, just to hear about what's going on with the club in your board, and to answer any questions you have, and then maybe go into a meeting after that, either the same day or the next day. And I could also attend service projects or fundraisers that you're having, and that would be optimal. I would really love to be involved in those kinds of activities if at all possible. So think about that when Fred calls you and say, well, I've got this project coming on, or we're going to be doing this fundraiser. Could he attend that and be part of that? And I would love to do that. If you can get several of your clubs together to meet jointly that I could attend, that would be wonderful as well. So that doesn't happen that often, but if it's convenient and it makes sense, let's go ahead and plan that. Next slide. As I mentioned, let us know what's important to you. Things that I would love to be able to do is to, if you have a new member there that's just coming in, I would love to be able to induct them. I think that would make a big difference for them to be inducted by the district governor. Not that the president is not that important, but while I'm there, if I could do that, that would be wonderful. If you have some special recognition of an existing member from an accomplishment standpoint, I'd love to be able to do that as well. If you have something specific you'd like us to address in terms of committees like membership or foundation, public image, community service, and it makes sense, I can bring one of my committee chairs to help work with your leaders on that, on that specific issue. If not, then I'll do the best I can as well. And plan on your assistant governor, your lieutenant governor being there right with me as well. Next slide. Things that I could cover. In addition to those things that are specific to your needs, if I have time, I'll share with you what's going on in Rotary International with what's going on in district. As things progress through the year, we're continuing to adapt. We've got new programs being rolled out. We're accomplishing goals. I'd love to share those goals and initiatives with you, so you have a feeling for what's going on outside of your community in Rotary. Sometimes, especially in the outlying areas, you may feel kind of insular out there, and you're all by yourself. And I want to bring you into the Rotary International fold, so you feel even more part of the big picture of what we're trying to accomplish, not only in the community and your club, but around the world. And again, if possible, I like to recognize club members for their accomplishments. And if necessary, I'll just be a fly on the wall. I'll sit there with your members, enjoy your fellowship, and be available for questions. I would love to visit your satellite. If you have a satellite club, I'd love to. While I'm there, I'd love to. If they can't be at the host club meeting, they're going to be meeting at the same time that same day, maybe at a different time. I'd love to go and visit with them, or maybe at a different time if it's convenient. Rotaract, Louisa, I'd love to come and visit your Rotaract club while I'm on a trip down there or independently. You're just as important to me as any other club. Next slide. Questions for me? If it is a custom that you buy a gift for the visiting district governor, I would ask you to take that money that you are going to expend and contribute it either to the annual fund or Polio Plus in your club's name. Don't buy something for me, except for those boots. I want those boots. But other than that, make a donation in the club's name to the annual fund of Polio Plus. Any other questions for me? Jeff, I'll toss it back to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Bob. Well, we did cover a lot today. For those of you who don't know, when we're meeting in person, PETS is 2.5 days. So we're just doing it over 3 Saturdays. And our next session, the last session, is on the 27th, and it's a full day. And we just want to make sure, we'll make sure there's plenty of breaks. We'll break for lunch. But if you have not registered, please go ahead and do so through the district website. Danette walked you through that. And if you're having any problems with Club Runner, please let your secretary know. But again, homework assignment, as Bob kind of alluded to, several things. Develop your elevator speech. Yes, the last session will be recorded. Develop your elevator speech. That'll be the first item on the 27th. We will have breakout sessions on the 27th, I promise you. So you have a chance to kind of practice. Not everyone, if we have a lot of people, we'll get as many as possible. Your other homework assignment is, given the discussion we had about Rotary Club Central and goals, is if you haven't started, start working with your incoming board on them. Start your planning if you have not done so already. Think about the innovation that we've talked about. And if you have the opportunity, go ahead and enter those goals. And if you don't have access, you can work with your current president, your current club secretary, but please make sure that you have goals identified and SMART goals. And Bob, thank you for going over the SMART goals. That's really important. So that is your homework assignment for the 27th. Do you have any questions? We've got a few minutes before we're going to close. We are a little bit early now. So there's a question about how are we doing breakouts? So at PETS in the past, we actually had breakout sessions where presidents-elect could work on putting goals into Rotary Club Central. We wouldn't have time on the 27th to do that. That's why we're talking about it now. We want to be available to help you. So if you are struggling with Rotary Club Central and you're ready to enter goals, please let us know. Let your assistant governor know, let me know, let Danette know. We will help you. But because of the way PETS is set up, we're not going to have dedicated time during PETS for you to be logged in, entering goals. Someone had their hand raised, I believe.
Keith does.
Yeah, go ahead, Keith.
Hey there, good morning. Jeff, I was just trying to catch up with you. Hi, Sunny, how are you today?
Great, you?
Good, not bad. Just got a quick question. Jeff, you said the homework assignment was also to develop the elevator speech, and you had a few other points. I was writing them down. I didn't get there. Could you repeat that kindly again, please?
Work on your goals for next year, your plan with your board, and make sure that when you've identified your incoming board members, and Danette will amen this, make sure that they're in Rotary Club Central and in Club Runner. We need to know who your incoming membership chair is, who your Rotary Foundation chair is, who your club secretary is. So if they're not in Club Runner now, this is a good time to work with your current president and secretary to make sure that the board members for next year are in Club Runner. Correct, Danette? Danette may not be with us.
She may have stepped away.
Okay, but yes, that's very important. Mike, go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Do we have a deadline for that?
It's not like it has to be done by the 27th, but I would just say do it as soon as possible. We're going to have a club assembly in May. So we need to reach out to your incoming membership chairs and foundation chairs. And the only way we'll know who they are is if they're in Club Runner. So I would say as soon as reasonably possible.
Jeff, there's another question from Brad. He can't raise his hand, but he has a question.
Go ahead, Brad.
What were the R and T? I had been writing down the SMART thing, and for some reason I didn't get to the R and T while I was listening.
Okay, R is realistic.
Okay.
Relevant.
And relevant.
Realistic, relevant.
And T is time bound.
Time bound?
Yes, like in 3 years we will.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Yep. And yes, the homework is listed at the bottom of the agenda. Any other questions before we close for today?
Is Arturo Barrios still online?
He is, but he's fixing a flat tire. Arturo, can you unmute?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I just sent you a text message about the press release about my club. I'd like to know what your response is. Text me or chat. Go to the chat room and answer.
Perfect. Did you send it via text to my cell phone or text to the Zoom?
No, I use the chat function.
Okay, I will look into it. Thank you.
I'm hearing background and I can't tell where it's coming from. Okay, are there any other questions before we close?
Yes, I have a question. I'm looking at setting goals for the future and a lot for fundraisers or service projects, and some of it's limited because of COVID guidelines, limiting the number of people that could assemble at any given point in time. Now, any county where our teacher resides is now a yellow county. So theoretically, they've opened up indoor dining, and theoretically, maybe some of the group meetings can be expanded on to 33% of the room capacity. So what's the expectation from the district level of putting all these things in place, knowing that there's going to be limits on how big of an event we can have or activity because of the numbers?
You know, personally, I think that you put in what you think you can accomplish. And one thing you, based on what you anticipate you feel it's going to, the situation you're going to be in. Realizing, you look at Club Central, you see that once you hit save, it's not in concrete. You can go back and change it later. You can go back and change it. So if circumstances changes and you have to maybe change expectations, you can do that and still accomplish the goal.
Okay, thank you.
Great point, Bob. Thank you. Any other questions? By the way, on the 27th, we're going to have our director, Vicky, be joining us. We're also going to have a member of the Rotary Foundation, name escapes me, but we're going to have some VIPs join us on the 27th. It's a very big day. It's a long day, but please go ahead and register. And between now and then, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Bob, anything final before we close?
Yes, two things. First is thanks again for all the participation. You guys rock. I'm always worried that there's going to be a lot of dead space. Usually it's just me looking at slides. It hasn't been any because people aren't willing to share and to contribute. So thanks for that. We're going to have a wonderful day of training in 2 weeks' time. Tell your friends, tell your President-elect-elects to join. And I really enjoying this. I appreciate your patience with the technical challenges that we have from time to time. Know that it's nothing but the age you're working with here. So, Jeff, if we wouldn't mind having a gathering of the DG string and you after we're all done, that would be great. Just a quick hot wash.
Sounds good. All right. So everyone who's not in the DG string or me, please enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you on the 27th or RLI next Saturday. Thank you.